back to basics chat. My voice is not 100%, so I apologize for sounding like I've probably smoked 20 packs of cigarettes in the last 10 days. I have not. This actually sounds really good. So today I have one of my longtime clients with me, Tiffany. Tiffany, we're going to talk about her journey and what she's been on during her health journey, but also how Tiffany is a great example of kids seeing what the parents do. And her son has, through just kind of Tiffany making better choices and living a healthier life, just has kind of fallen in her footsteps and has also had quite a weight loss journey as well. And those two together become healthier. So that's kind of what I want to hit on today is, you know, kids watch us, kids see us, they're paying attention and they're learning from us. And, you know, one of the things, I'll be honest, that absolutely drives me crazy when I talk to parents is they'll say like, oh, my kids will only eat chicken nuggets and French fries. Well, they will only eat that because that's what they've been giving. You know, kids don't know any different. We provide the environment, we provide the learning experiences, all that kind of stuff. So you have to provide your kids with plentiful foods, and you have to be living that lifestyle as well. There recently has been a lot of debate and research that has come out about obesity and the likelihood of a child being obese if the parents were obese. And they say, you know, there is a genetic undercoding to that 100%, because you can literally change your DNA with lifestyle, and you do pass that on to your child. But lifestyle is still what pulls the trigger and makes those things happen. So the likelihood of a child being obese with obese parents is because they're following in those habits, those patterns that the parents are in, and they don't know any different, right? They see mom and dad doing it. And when they're young, they don't know what obesity is. They don't know that they're unhealthy. You know, they just know they love their mom and dad and they want to do what mom and dad do. So we have to teach our kids, and I'm not saying everybody needs to be out there with a 6-pack. That's unrealistic, but we do want to be the healthiest version of ourselves, right? We all want to live a long life. I don't want to be on medication when I'm 80. You know, I don't want to be in a wheelchair when I'm 80. I want to be vibrant and have quality of life as I age. So the things that we do now are big payoffs, right, for when we age. But anyways, so Tiffany, if you want to tell me just a little bit, or just kind of give everybody a little brief bio of you, your story, what made you want to change up your health journey and go down the path, and just kind of tell us who you are a little bit.
So I had worked out a long time ago and tried to do, you know, the fad diets and such, and it just like I kind of yo-yoed up and down, and I didn't have a lot of consistency with it. Or I would try and you know, do a whole lot of cardio and not lift very much weight. So I just did a lot of that for a long time. I did lose a little bit of weight, but then, you know, as soon as I stopped or I start eating carbs again, then, you know,
It's not the carbs,
right. But when you go to low carb and you're only eating 30 or 40 carbs a day, and then you go back to eating 150 or 200, you know, like that.
You put on some water weight with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Because then also, you know, I wasn't tracking I was tracking my calories instead of just macros, you know, or, you know, not a combination of both.
Okay. So let's hit that real quick. So prior to, you were tracking just calories, right? Mm-hmm. And now you're tracking your nutrients, the quality of your food. What's like the differences that you as a person doing that sees with the difference of calories versus macros?
Well, first of all, I can eat more food.
Okay.
Because I'm not just focused, like I was like limiting my calories, the amount of calories I was having, you know, to too low of a number. Because I didn't have anybody to really tell me, you know, we just like live in this society where it's like a 1,200 calorie diet, you know, it's like, that's how you lose weight. So that was the biggest thing. And then like just the types of foods that like trying not to eat as much processed food. I had really, changed that and like incorporating a lot more vegetables in, like, I guess before, like, I mean, I would eat like green beans and cucumbers, and like that was really like my green vegetables that I would eat, like I didn't really want to like venture out or, take the time to like see like, oh, well, maybe I do like these vegetables, maybe I don't, like, so things like that.
Good. Okay. So it helped you to like increase the amount or types of foods that you were eating and focus more on quality of food. Just, yeah, like you said, so worried about the quantity of the food that you're eating.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. And so what else? So you did that for a little bit and then you just kind of like yo-yo back and forth, lose weight, put it back on, lose weight, put it back on.
Yeah. And then I guess probably when COVID happened, was when I really decided that like I can't be this overweight anymore. I was close to probably 300 pounds at that point. And so, I knew that I had adopted my son and that he was overweight as well, just because he had unhealthy food habits prior to me getting him, of, just overeating, the quantity and the quality, but mainly the quantity. And so, everything was shut down. So we started walking. And then I think that's when, we did that for a while and that helped a ton, just adding the walking in. And then, like, clearly I reached out to you at some point and then started like really working on my nutrition and then adding, the weightlifting into my weekly exercising.
Okay. And what would you say from changing from, high cardio, low calories, quality of food, resistance training, walking, we're big on walking, getting your steps in for activity levels, not necessarily exercise, but for just being an active individual for health. What would you say, like, was the hardest part of that? And what was the best part of that?
So I think the hardest and the best part was that like I felt like it was a combination of like the strength training. Like I feel confident in myself now that like I can pick up dumbbells and I know what to do with them. Like it's not just like I'm just like, oh well, hope I'm doing this right.
Right.
Like I said, especially when the gyms weren't open, I did a lot of like that home videos and stuff and like really trying to like work on my form. And so at that point, like thankfully we had some time because everything in the world was shut down. So I do think that that was a benefit that like we used that to like be productive of ourselves versus like, there's a time and a place to like binge watch things on the Netflix, like there is,
Right.
but like we didn't take that whole season of that to do that. Like we really wanted to work on that. But I definitely think, just seeing how much like we're able to do now, like especially with my son, like he couldn't run up and down the basketball court without like being out of breath now, and like literally this week, I just posted like he did a 5K on the treadmill while I did my leg workout.
Oh, nice. Go, John.
Right. And he loves it. He will say like, Mommy, I love the treadmill. I'm like, well, so, me, I'd rather be outside walking, but
Right.
in the weather,
Right.
but it's something, it's not like he doesn't look at it like a punishment.
Good.
That's the biggest thing that I wanted him to get from this and from me, because for a really long time I viewed going to the gym as a punishment. Like, oh, you ate this snack cake and now you have to go spend however long in the gym to try and work that off.
So
So like,
let's stop there. What did you use? I mean, we did coaching, but it still comes down to you and changing mindset and thought patterns. So what were some things that you did to change that relationship with food and make it now like, oh, if I had a snack cake, it's so what, I'm still overall living this healthy lifestyle. So how did you help yourself? Because a lot of people struggle with that. They view, they either restrict calories after they've had something, or they feel like they've got to go do hours of cardio to burn off the calories of something they ate. And it's a terrible relationship with food, and it's a terrible place to like live in. So how did you help yourself out of that?
Like I said, I definitely think having a coach and having that accountability to myself was a huge portion of that. Not buying it in general, like, was a huge, a thing, because for a while, like, I couldn't have it in the house. Like, I knew if I had it in the house, it was going to probably be eaten. And so I think those are probably the two biggest things. And then just like logging everything that I ate, that if like I had to put that in there and see, like, look at those calories and look at that sugar and like see that like on paper and pencil, or in the MyFitnessPal, then that was something that encouraged, like, I don't want to have to log that. Or if I have to turn this in, like, I don't want to have to like show somebody that like that's what I did all, like, I ate snack cakes all week. Like,
Right.
yes, it's okay to like do and have sporadically, but I just think like having that accountability was like the biggest thing for me.
Okay, good. Okay, accountability. So now, I mean, we still have accountability. Now, what would you say though helps to keep you in that healthy relationship? Because we've been together for 2 years now, a little over 2 years. So of course you've got the accountability, we're going to talk and stuff. And like on my end, at least as a coach, like there's no judgment. Am I going to give you hell when you need help? Yeah, but there's no judgment, on anything
Right.
that you do. But at this point, we've been together 2 years. You have to have developed some skills on your own outside of having accountability to me that keep you on track with those. And what are some of the things that you use?
Well, first of all, like, I want my clothes to fit.
Okay. All right.
So that
That's, yeah,
is big.
that's fair. You want to be comfortable in your clothes, right?
Accountability, and like just to feel comfortable in my own skin,
Okay.
And so just like having that ability to like get dressed and say, okay, like I like I like how I look in this outfit or not, and sometimes I struggle still with that like negative talk, but then I have to like remind myself, like, we're supposed to be kind to ourselves. Like, we're kind to everybody else. We're gonna be kind to ourselves too. But I think that is, and I mean, I still, I take breaks from it, but I still track. And I think that is what holds me accountable, even if I didn't like, and I know tracking isn't forever. And I do it more for like, to make sure that I am hitting my goals. It's not that like I have to track of like, oh, did I eat the snack cake, or but like I want to make sure that I'm getting in the enough fiber, because that was something that before, like, I mean, I'd be lucky if I hit 10 grams in a day, and now, I average between 25 and 35. So it doesn't bother me to track, I mean, I do get tired of it sometimes, and so I'll take a break, but I know that I'm still in a weight loss journey. I've had a few life things that have, deterred that, things that like I can't control that much of, so, and I try to remind myself of that sometimes, that, like, this isn't like a sprint, like it's a marathon, it's a journey,
Right.
and so, yeah.
So what would you say, like, the biggest, going from where you were when we started and how you felt just in general day, like day-to-day activities and stuff like that, to now how you feel? Like, what are some things, I guess, that you notice that you are so glad that you're in the place that you are now versus where you were? Like, like you said, going to the gym, you have more confidence going to the gym and knowing what to do inside the gym, and that, you like being there. But just like in day-to-day stuff, like, do you find yourself having more confidence when you're at work, or, you know, other things like that, that this part of this health journey is like kind of transposed into other areas of your life?
Yeah, I definitely, because I'm very open about like my journey, and that I, do utilize a nutrition coach and things like that with anybody that I meet, but especially like in my group of friends, so a lot of times they lean into me if they have questions. They're like, well, hey, like, do you have you tried any like new like good for you snacks that we could use, or you have any new recipes, or you know I had a lot of friends that like they wanted to do that low carb and lots of and only have 1,200 calories. And I just tried to really talk to one specific friend, and tell her like, you're over 50, like that's really not a great idea. I mean, it's not a great idea for anybody, but your metabolism, I feel like, is lower than the older that we get and whatnot. But she just had a really hard time like understanding that. And so like I just kind of try to walk there, and she saw my transformation of like, hey, I was eating this many calories and in a surplus at times, and I went on vacation and I did the things that I wanted to do, and I was continuing to lose weight. So I think that was a big thing, just like with the group of people that I'm with on a regular basis.
That's got to make you feel good that people are leaning on you for like, they look up to you in a sense, like they're looking up to you and what you're doing, and like you're knowledgeable now in what you're doing. So they kind of, you're the expert amongst your friends, which is nice. It's a good place to feel. And it's probably like a good motivator for you to keep doing what you're doing, because right. You got, now you got people leaning on you and dependent, for your information, right. And they're watching you in a good way. They're watching right. You, seeing what you do, because they want to do the same thing. So that's pretty cool. All right. What about you and John? Like, so of course he lost some weight because your food options changed inside the house, right? You're making better things. He has to eat what mom cooks, He started going to the gym with you and doing treadmill. What have you seen differences in with him in like his decisions when it maybe comes to health, or other things that you've seen that this is carried over with him and his lifestyle?
A perfect example is last week, he went on a field trip with his teacher and some peers. They were going to tour U of L for a presentation they're having there. Anyways, so they went out to lunch at Chick-fil-A. So he had his chicken sandwich and french fries and a drink. And then afterwards, she was like, let's go get ice cream. And John told her, he was like, my mom says that that's probably not a good idea. I don't want any. And she's like, well, your mom's not here right now. And he said, no, we have to go to the gym later. It's not a good idea.
Oh, and he told you this too?
Mm-hmm.
Look, he even resisted peer pressure. Excellent.
I know. And that's what, and that was the thing that I stressed to his teacher. I was like, I understand that like you wanted to treat him. I said, but we are working diligently, because he does have a disability, so I really want him to truly understand the meaning of being healthy and why we're healthy, and the quantity of food that we eat, and right. Why we eat the foods that we eat, so it's definitely been a long process with him, but he's really coming around to the fact of this is why, like, and so that is so important to me for him. He had his checkup just past week, and, the doctor's like, he went from, when he first saw him at 235 to he's down to 150.
Oh my gosh, 80 pounds. Wow. That's fantastic.
And, he's just the doctor, of course, is like beyond pleased, but, he really understands, he'll look at pictures of him before and he'll say, I had too much food in my tummy, mommy. And so but getting him to understand that, has been just a huge piece for him.
Right. Well, good. Kudos to you, Mom. Kudos to you, because that's big. big for the kid, and that he's responsible enough on his own to make decisions,
that has
in
taken
that
a really
regards.
long time. Like it has, like we've had to stick with it. Like sometimes I had felt like a drill sergeant because again, like he has that like learning curve that he has. And so,
Right.
you know, but I'm like, I'm bound and determined for the both of us, and so I think he sees that, and he wants his clothes to fit, he went from a 2X and now he wears a medium most of the time.
Nice.
So,
Good. Well, I mean, I think that's hard for any kid though, to do that and resist the temptation and become, I don't know, just make those choices. I feel like that's a hard thing for kids to do. So that's kudos to you, Mom, for sure, for doing that. Definitely consistency is a big part of it. Big part of it.
yes, that has been our biggest thing. It's just the consistency. And, just like offering him different vegetable, like again, same thing with myself, like I cook a variety of vegetables now, and 9 times out of 10, I mean, he likes it. Like made Brussels sprouts, he ate them,
Yeah.
he loves grilled shrimp. Like whenever we have that, he's like tickled pink. I
Right.
mean, don't get me wrong, he loves his pizza, but
Sure. Yeah. Who doesn't? But
right,
we don't have it every night,
right.
it's maybe a couple times a month, something like that peppered in. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
and that's been the biggest thing is, like we'd pass by a restaurant, like a fast food restaurant. And again, those are habits that he had built in for the last 14 years. So then I'm having
Break
to
those.
undo
Yeah.
those habits. So just like I did for myself, you know. But I said to him the other day, I said, it wasn't the other day, it was a while ago, but he's like, Wendy's. And I was like, John, like we don't go out to eat every night or every time that we pass a restaurant. Like we have
Right.
food at home, like we had, and he's like, okay, like but just like seeing it before
Yeah.
he wanted it, he got it.
Gotcha. Yeah. That's how we don't do fast food at all. We go out to eat every once in a while, but like fast food's not on our thing. We just
Right.
don't do fast food. And so my kid, I've never talked to her about it. And Finley's only 3, right? So she watches this YouTube stuff and they go to McDonald's and all this kind of stuff. And we passed the McDonald's on the street. She's like, Happy Meal. And I was like, how the hell do you know what a Happy Meal is? And I was just like, what? And I had to think back and I was like, oh my gosh, they're getting fed this stuff, every which way. And so I'm talking to her now. I'm like, we don't eat at places like that. We don't go there. You don't get that. We eat at home, and so, yeah. And I know it's going to be a battle, especially as they get into teenage years, because your teenage friends are all going there and doing all that kind of stuff. But I'm hoping like you, I'm ingraining it now and just like, we don't eat that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying that she can every once in a while. She's a kid, that kind of stuff. But it's like you're saying, just because we pass it, just because we're short on time or something like that, it doesn't mean we're going to get fast food.
Right. And I think that's important for kids to understand and know, to know the value of the things that you're getting when you go to places like that.
Yeah. Because I remember when I grew up as a kid, all my meals were cooked at home. Taco Bell was like a treat. I was like, oh my God, we get to go to Taco Bell, And so that's the same with like, we eat our meals. I'm sure you guys do the same. We eat, we can't breakfast and lunch, right? She's at school, that kind of stuff. But every dinner, every night, we sit down at the table and we eat as a family at the table every single night.
Yeah.
And we talk about our day and all of that kind of stuff. And I just think those kind of things have just been lost in today's society because we go all the time. And I just think that those are kind of things that we need to keep as core values just for social health, family health, physical health, like all those kind of things. So again,
I agree.
Kudos to you because you're doing a great job and it shows. So
thanks.
Okay. All right. Well, let's wrap this guy up. Give me, I always ask everybody at the end of this, like, what are your like key takeaways or the biggest like bang for your buck or your biggest tip that you can offer somebody that's in your position or just wanting to start out or just wanting to make changes for health goals? Like, what are like your top tips or pieces of advice or nuggets, golden nuggets that you have for somebody just starting out like you were like 2 years ago to help them?
The biggest thing is like include your kids in it sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, I think sometimes we get so caught up in like, oh, this has to be this great workout or this has to be this great, but it's like they see you, you
Right.
know, they see what you're doing. And so like that was the biggest thing, you know, like was he always with me at my workouts? No, but you know, if I was going to go in and do an arm day that like didn't have crazy movement in it, like I would take him with me and I'd give him like the 5 pound weights, you know, and like let
Teach.
him try and practice, right? You know, same thing that I see with Finley, you know, when you all have your workouts, but it's it doesn't have to be separate things.
Right.
I think that that's what we look at so much is like they're two separate, but it's like no, you want your whole family, you know. And my boyfriend and I, like, we've tried to start working out together too, you know, so the three of us do it together, you know.
Right.
Is it
Yeah.
perfect? No, but it's something we're doing together and it's movement, you know.
Right.
And so that's what like I tell myself, like it's something, you know. And you know, just start tracking. Like that's the
Yeah.
biggest thing. Like just being in a habit of like logging things, you know. I think is probably the other tip that has a really both of those things like have helped us, you know. And just take it one day at a time.
Yeah. One day at a time. I agree. I think tracking, a lot of people like look at tracking as like punishment or, you know, this, and I'm just, you, again, it comes down to mindset, right? You got to change your mindset because without tracking, you can't learn food. I'm sorry. You can't learn the quality. Like you said, you learned you were eating 10 grams of fiber when you started. How do I get to 25? The only way to do that is to track your food and look at the quality of the food that you're consuming.
Right. Or I had 100 grams of sugar and should have been under 40, or, you
Right.
know, like
Right.
things like that, that like they add up, you know. It is calories are calories, but the quality,
Quality.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yep. 100%. All right. Well, thank you, Tiffany. Thank you for your time today. Appreciate it. And I hope you guys enjoyed this chat. I think this was a great chat, especially relatable to you parents with kids trying to figure out how to get everything in. And like Tiffany said, just include them, just take them. It doesn't have to be separate. And then that can be a time saver or a time management thing for you so that everybody can be successful, because every workout doesn't have to be your best workout, right? Some movement is better than no movement. So all right. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.